Welcome back, Truth Seeker. August 7th, 2018. A fire that's getting a lot of attention in the media today is the Cleveland National Forest Fire. It began yesterday, August 6th. It's expanded today, August 7th. If you go to CNN's webpage right now, they have a live stream of this fire. But I want to show you what's so interesting about the Cleveland National Fire beginning August 6th, raging in today, August 7th. Last year, about this time, I was showing how the fires in California and the flooding in Houston was perfectly synced with the World Series. And it foreshadowed a Dodgers Astros World Series where the Astros would win because water puts out fires. That's exactly what happened. And if you followed my work last year on the fires and the flooding in the World Series, you saw how the ritual was played out. And this isn't the first time I've shown how the sports championship was connected to a fire. A couple years ago, there was the Ghost Ship fire at the warehouse in Oakland, and I showed how that foreshadowed another Cavs and Warriors NBA Finals. These type of rituals happen again and again in this world, and most people don't have a clue because they're not able to see through what's coded in the names of the fires and the dates they begin, how they sync up with the scripted sports games. All of this stuff is carried out by a Masonic network. This is a nation of secret societies, the United States of America, and they communicate through this language of Gematria. Since you're watching this on YouTube, I suggest you type in Gematria film. It's about 26 minutes long. It's about a man using Gematria to track the end date of the world. And at the end of the movie, somebody lets him know that the code's actually used for rituals and to communicate amongst elite corporations, people who run the world. The movie's set in the future. Anyway, the Cleveland Fire began August 6th, 2018, the Cleveland National Forest Fire, that is, exactly 78 days before the start of the World Series, which is October 23rd this year. It'll be the 114th World Series. It begins October 23rd. And why does 78 days matter? Well, in the language of Gematria, using the alphabetic order, C is 3, L is 12, E is 5, V is 22, so on. You add up the letters of Cleveland using the alphabetic order, it sums to 78. Exact same with October, the month of the World Series. And consider this fire is getting more attention today, August 7th, a date that's written 7/8, like 78 in the majority of the world. And from today to the start of the World Series is a span of 78 days. From August 6th to the start of the World Series is 78 days later. If you count today and the start date of the World Series, that's a span of 78 days. You follow? With regards to the 33 for Cleveland in October, that's taking the alphabetic order and using the rules of numerology. So in this cipher, C is still 3, but L is the 12th letter. Instead of L counting as 12, you just take the numerology at 12. So 1 plus 2 is 3. E is the 5th letter, so E still 5. V is the 22nd letter, so V becomes 2 plus 2 is 4. You make each letter a single-digit number. Cleveland 33, October 33. And consider, this fire, the Cleveland National Forest, it's on the 33rd parallel. The 33rd parallel, October 23rd, 10 plus 23, that's a date with 33 numerology. So solid alignment there. And even before this fire began, I've been speculating on my blog that it's possible that this entire World Series will be a subtle tribute to the move of LeBron James from Cleveland to Los Angeles. And now with this fire syncing up with the start date of the World Series and reminding very much of last year what we saw, and Cleveland being a division leader right now in baseball, it's entirely possible that the World Series will be Dodgers and Cleveland. Still got to wait and see. There's some more clues to come. But this is a very possible narrative. It's going to be the 114th World Series. That's a big number with the scripting of LeBron James' career. LeBron James, 114. He goes from Cleveland to Los Angeles. The Dodgers just got Manny Machado by the numbers. You know, they're the team to beat in the NL. The AL, a little tougher to call right now. A lot of my followers think it's going to be the Red Sox or the Astros again. But I don't know. This Cleveland Fire right here, this is just outside of Los Angeles, this fire. This looks like the type of riddle where we can start to determine what the scripted championship ahead is. And have no doubt, this fire has been set on purpose by the numbers. If it isn't Cleveland to represent the American League, this fire still has everything to do with the upcoming World Series and LeBron James going from Cleveland to Los Angeles. It could just be that it's a sign that Los Angeles is going to be in, but Cleveland has a real possibility in the American League, and this right here makes me think it might be so. Now let's take this even further. This fire began August 6th, the day leaving 147 days left in the year, which is a big number with World Series riddles. Notice Cleveland National Forest has Gematria of 94. When you write out 94, it sums to 147, just like World Series. And, you know, a couple years ago, I guaranteed the Cubs would win the World Series in spring training. They did. They broke the 108-year curse. There's 108 double stitches on a baseball. Major League equals 108 plus a whole lot more. But along the way with that season, there ended up being a big riddle 94 days before the scheduled Game 7 of the World Series. And I guaranteed it then that the Cubs not only would win the World Series, but they would win it in Game 7 on November 2nd, 11/2, like 112, winning the 112th World Series. And that's exactly what they did. And the riddle was about 94 and 147. So what are the odds the Cleveland National Forest, 94, sets on fire on the day leaving 147 days left in the year? And further, how it syncs up with the World Series. What are the odds of all of this aligning? And what are the odds of me being able to do this year after year after year and be proven correct? And what are the odds of me putting out a book and showing how this exact code works and saying in that book that if you learn what's in this book, you'll be able to see how in the future the same cycles repeat themselves? You know, this is all in my book, Letters and Numbers. Everyone can pick up the book, 773 pages for $5. And why is the book priced at $5? A book that you'll get more out of than your entire four-year college education, because I want everybody to be able to afford it. I'll leave the link in the description where you can pick up that book. It's a tragedy not to buy it. Almost as much of a tragedy as how these fires are set, destroying nature year after year as ritual. And this really is what's going on. By the way, Freemason equals 147, so does conspiracy. You know? Now, they're referring to this as a holy fire, and I can't figure out why. That's something that has to do with the annual fires in Jerusalem just before Easter. And I don't know, but they're using this terminology, holy fire. If somebody can clue me in, I'd appreciate it. What I noticed about it is holy fire has the Gematria of 118. It's a number associated with death, which coincides with fire, of course. But also, it's the Cleveland Indians' 118th season. Is this why they're using the terminology holy fire? Cleveland National Forest Fire, Cleveland Indians, synced with the World Series, their 118th season. Again, what are the odds? So, we'll leave it there for now, Truth Seeker. If you missed my last video, which was on the record fire in California right now, just in case you missed that, it's called the Mendocino Complex Fire, Gematria of 218, and it also began August 6th. Or it didn't begin August 6th, but on that day it became the largest fire in the history of California on the 218th day of the year. You know, how perfect could it be? And for the people out there wondering how all of this can be orchestrated, you have to realize we're living in an age of advanced technology. There's weather modification. They know how to increase wind. They know how to increase rainfall. They know how to take away rainfall. So if you're targeting an area for a ritual, you can make it drier than it normally is. You can make it hotter than it normally is. And once you start the fire, you can increase winds, which spread these fires rapidly. It's just like how last year, when California was experiencing all these terrible fires, they were blaming it on the Diablo winds, and nobody had ever heard of this before. The Diablo winds, Diablo means devil in Spanish. And if you missed my work from last year, or since you just learned in this video, why don't you go do the Gematria of Diablo winds and compare it with fire and see what you find. You know, all of this stuff that's through the media is encoded this way. And check out that movie Gematria as well. It's funny that movie came out in 2014, a year after I began promoting this work. You know, coincidence, I guess. All right, Truth Seeker, until next time.